Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher. And here we have a story from the bizarro universe that is Canada, where if you use the wrong gender pronoun, you could go to jail or be fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's one of the top 5 feminist countries on the planet. And now Ontario police are going to be turning over sexual assault cases for outside review. Yes, groundbreaking review aims to increase the number of charges and improve public trust by handing over cases to lay people who have no experience in criminal investigation. Just hand it over. Let's get to the meat of this story. I think you will be as shocked and dismayed as I was when I checked it out. Okay, so here we have this ugly broad who works for a rape crisis center. And yeah, there's no bias, no conflict there. A woman who makes her living off of sexual assault and rape victims, lobbying the police to let her or people like her in her industry, yeah, it's become a cottage industry now, letting these people essentially investigate police crimes that are sexual in nature. What nonsense. Oh, and by the way, of course they're going to get paid for that work. It's absurd. And this woman, after 3 years of investigation, the Ottawa Rape Crisis Center Executive Director Sonny Mariner has helped convince Ottawa police to turn over some of their sexual assault investigations for outside review. Even though crime over the past 30 years has been significantly dropping, we now need outside experts to help the police. I mean, they're not even police. These people have no expertise, okay? There's no such thing as an expert in gender-based violence. Okay? Oh, guy hit a girl. Girl hit a guy. Oh. What expertise do I need to say, oh, okay, some guy hit some girl? Where's the necessity for expertise? And this is such nonsense. What idiocy. Well, I work in rape and sexual assault, and I'd like to lobby you to let us lay people who don't know a goddamn thing about criminal justice or how to investigate a crime or anything, and we're all biased anyway because we're all feminists and we hate men, you know, because we believe that Me Too crap, and we believe that all men are rapists. Well, why don't you just let us investigate all rapes and sexual assaults? Yeah, trust me, we will be totally unbiased and fair. Yeah, there's no possibility for corruption or a bad outcome in regard to this idea. Yeah, this is a really great idea. Yeah. I don't know about that. Seems like this idea is ripe for abuse based on these people's ideological bent. But, okay. Let's see where this story goes, shall we? Advocates for women say a new pilot project, which allows outside experts in gender-based violence to review sexual assault investigations. Why? Are you going to help the police get more arrests? Is that the goal here? To basically give us your 2 cents worth, your vast amount of expertise and knowledge on the subject of, oh, guy hit girl. Oh, guy raped girl. I mean, that's it. That's basically the body of your expertise. Of course, now all these gender study idiot experts come up with all this convoluted double speak, double talk, made up words, word salad bullshit that sounds real fancy and doesn't mean anything because it's not a real expertise. Gender studies. Oh, look, she has a vagina. He has a pee-pee. Yeah, gee, gender studies is real deep. That's a deep subject. Will increase the number of charges laid and improve public trust. Well, we know they want to increase the number of charges laid. More work for them. Improve public trust. Since when does more arrest? It gives the illusion that more criminals are getting arrested. Oh, look, arrests for sexual assault are up. And of course, those sexual assault arrests couldn't possibly be false, could they? Oh, no, arrests are up, meaning there's less criminals on the street and we're safer. Yeah. God forbid they practice a little discrimination and arrest the right people, though. Oh, no, let's just hire a bunch of biased people who hate men and are all feminists and believe that all men are rapists to investigate rape crimes. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Sexual assault investigations in Ottawa, Timmins, Peterborough, basically all over Canada, will be reviewed by an outside panel of experts who work with survivors of sexual and domestic violence. What does that have to do with anything? Isn't that a little too much bias? Okay, isn't that a little too much bias involved in the investigation of a crime? Seems like there's a little too much bias involved there to me. are also part of the pilot and completed their case reviews earlier this fall. Case reviews. Why are these people? Don't know nothing about criminal justice, criminal investigations. They're not CSIs. They don't know anything about investigating crimes. They're just so-called experts in gender-based violence. Yes, experts in gender-based violence. And I'm an expert at picking corn and wiping my ass. And my friend, he's an expert at eating apples properly and skinning potatoes. Experts in gender-based violence. Give me a fucking break. Panel to review sexual assault cases deemed unfounded by Ottawa police. The Ottawa Rape Crisis Center and the Ottawa Coalition to End Violence Against Women are spearheading the project. Big surprise! An organization that exists and profits from women being raped and sexually assaulted wants to spearhead a movement to allow people like them, and maybe even them specifically, to review and influence criminal cases that are under investigation for rape and sexual assault. What a big surprise! Shocker! And of course, they've been spearheading this project, this initiative, to be able to review sex cases in Canada for the past 3 years, and they've been funded by the Status of Women Canada. Status of Women, meaning feminists. So feminists have been pushing to let feminists review all sexual assault cases, including rapes, in Canada. Yeah, there's no room for abuse there. Nah. Great idea. Experts in violence against women. What? Yeah, that's a robust area of expertise. By the way, why isn't there some panel, some group, some people calling themselves experts in violence against men? Huh? Because men are beat up many times more than women. They have violence done against them many more times than women. Why isn't there some kind of panel of experts on violence against men? Why? Somebody tell me that. Oh, because women are special and so different, and they have their own unique needs, that they need their own special panels because they're so special and important. If anybody needs any proof that women are the superior race now, the superior sex, and men are the inferior second-class citizens, this is it. Oh, no, it's not good enough that you have the police force. No, women need their own special councils of experts to help and advocate for them. And not only that, but these same experts are now going to essentially have a hand in influencing, developing investigations, and possibly arrests. So not only do women have the police department, but now they have outside influences who have real power within the police force itself and any investigation going on that involves sexual assault against a woman. Now, of course, if it happens to a man, well, they can't be bothered. Just let the police do their job. And if it happens to a woman, police, you do your job, but we'll also help you, and we'll give the woman twice as much help as the man is getting. Yeah, somebody tell me how women are somehow oppressed again. I'm just not seeing it. It goes on to say, but OCTEVAW, that's a lovely acronym, Executive Director Carolyn Johnson said the pilot project could result in systematic change. Oh, I bet it could, but not all change is good, as we saw from Obama's presidency. We need change in this country. We need change. Yeah, we don't need change, pal. We don't need the kind of change you brought. I don't think we need the kind of systematic change that this is going to bring. Carolyn Johnston, Executive Director of the Ottawa Coalition to End Violence Against Women. Amazingly, there's no coalition that mirrors this one that's for men, even though men are the ones who suffer from the majority of violence. Very interesting, but I'm supposed to believe that you are being oppressed by men? Calls the outside review of how police handle sexual assault investigations groundbreaking. Outside review. So, let me get this straight. The police are going to allow women I mean, even if there's guys within this group, they're still women, essentially, in my mind, because they're probably a bunch of soy boy pussies who have been emasculated by years of being raised by a single mother, years of being indoctrinated by feminism, and they've cucked themselves, so they might as well be women. So all these female feminists, including the male pussy white knight ones, I'm going to label them female as well, are essentially going to have influence over sexual assault investigations, including who gets arrested and who does not, via influencing the evidence and influencing the investigation itself, because they're so-called experts and know more than the police, even though they have not a lick of training in criminal justice or investigation. Yeah, I don't know. This just seems like a situation that's rife for abuse. That's ripe for abuse. I don't know. It just seems like a bad idea to me. What about you guys out there? You think this is a good idea? Let the feminists and the feminazis and all these women that believe that all men are rapists, allow them to have a hand in the investigations against men who are accused of sex crimes? As it currently stands, if someone who has come forward to file a report with police is unhappy with the situation, they have to go forward on their own to make a complaint. Yeah, that just seems like an observation of reality. Of course they have to make a complaint. Well, I don't see the point here. Okay, let's continue. This way, cases are being reviewed on a system level, which will allow us to identify trends or gaps that need to be addressed. What? That has no meaning. What you just said has no meaning. That has no meaning. No meaning whatsoever. You're just overcomplicating an issue to make it seem like there's a need that needs to be filled when there's no actual need. Oh, we'll identify gaps. There's no gaps. There's no gaps. Let the cops do their fucking job. Let the cops investigate. You're presupposing there's some kind of gaps that exist that you need to come in and fill. And the only gap that needs to be filled, lady, by the way, is the one between your legs that probably ain't been filled in 20 fucking years, which is why you're such a bitter, angry whore. Anyway, the panel will report back to police every quarter. It sounds like they will be running the police department, essentially, when it comes to sex crimes. In the capital, the Ottawa Police Service will hand over cases to review from 2016 and beyond. Why? What is this? You're letting a civilian auditing board whose sole purpose is to investigate. And actually, it said very much earlier, their sole goal is to increase the number of arrests. So they're not going in with the purpose of being unbiased and is this guy guilty, is he innocent? Their whole goal is to increase the number of men arrested. So the Ottawa Police will have to turn over cases from review from 2016 and beyond, including 160 sexual assault investigations and 200 domestic violence cases. The police will have to? So this isn't really a voluntary exchange here. They are being forced to do this by politicians who are clearly jockeying for votes from guess who? Women, of course, because just like in Canada and America, Canada has more women than men, as with every country. And if women have the vote, they're going to screw things up monumentally. Yeah, let's just turn over every sexual assault and domestic violence case and let these people investigate it. Yeah, that's a real good idea. Let these people who have a bias, who have an agenda, and that agenda is not to find if someone is innocent or guilty, but they go in with the assumption of guilt, and their whole goal is to increase the number of arrests because they have a presupposition in their mind that all men are guilty, and so we're going to prove that they're guilty. Yeah, that's a bad idea. That's why you're supposed to let people who are experts in criminal justice and not made up bullshit like mansplaining investigate crimes. Inspector Jamie Dunlop said the force has worked closely with Ontario's police commissioner to be as transparent as possible to allow the panel to do its work. Well, that doesn't sound very transparent. Just leave them alone to do their work. Just leave them alone. Let them do their work. So leaving them alone? Well, that's not transparency. Cases involving youth victims or perpetrators won't be turned over, but Dunlop said no other information will be redacted. So they get everything. Every little bit of information. They're a civilian board. They have no police powers, but they're handling police investigations? What? This is insanity. The social justice warriors want to take over. These privately funded feminist groups are actually being handed the power to investigate and jail men. Is this unbelievable or is this unbelievable? Oh my God. It didn't make sense to give them just a vetted file. Dunlop said it was important that they were able to see the whole thing to provide us with information that would be useful. What information they could provide you with? Well, his legs were spread 47.5 inches apart. Far too much. This was a case of uber man-spreading, as we label it, and we are experts in man-spreading. Are you kidding me? Gender violence experts. This is bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, it's important that they see the whole thing to provide us with information to be useful. It's important for police to look at this as a tool. It's not a tool. This is so stupid. How is it a tool? This is not a tool. This is a burden. You are taking people who have an agenda, who have a bias, who have a predetermined belief of guilt on the man's part, whose sole agenda is to find and convict men, not prove innocence or guilt. They're totally biased, and you're bringing them in and handing these people who have no investigatory skills, who are all completely, utterly based in subjectivity and don't have the ability to use logic or critical thinking skills. They only use subjective emotion to form their conclusions when you need the exact opposite to investigate crimes. And you're letting these people be your main tool in investigating sex crimes? Are you kidding me? Are you letting them have any say at all is a joke, even if they weren't your main tool? Any tool like that would not be helpful. It would be detrimental, you fools. The panel will report back to police every quarter, said Sonny Mariner, executive director of the Ottawa Rape Crisis Center. And of course, they're going to get tax dollars and then get paid for their work time. Of course, which is what this is really about. That and, of course, vilifying men and pushing the feminist narrative, of course. If the panel finds details police missed, what? Like what? Like what? It's like we're spread an inch further than the police had previously thought, and it was a case of uber man-spreading instead of just slightly uber man-spreading. Are you kidding me? This nonsense gender experts in gender violence, that's not a real subject. These people have created this whole cottage industry around all these gender studies, and then they've created all this bullshit built up around it. It's just nonsense, double talk and word salad bullshit that doesn't mean anything to make themselves look like they're some kind of experts in something that's actually a non-subject. And now they're getting paid for it, and they're going to get paid for it by the police. They're going to be given cases by the police to investigate police crimes, even though they're not police, and they have zero investigatory skills. But they hate men, and they know men are guilty, and their sole goal, as we read in the beginning of this article, is to increase the number of arrests because, there's not enough arrests. Crime is down. That couldn't possibly mean that crime is actually going down. It can't mean that less women are getting assaulted sexually. No, men are animals. Toxic masculinity is out there, and it's raping women at an astonishing number. We're just not hearing about it. So we are going to go in with this bias. Right, with this confirmation bias, and we're going to root out that rape and make sure that more and more men get convicted because we know they're guilty. We know they're guilty. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the kind of people you want investigating sex crimes, and yet here they are, and they're going to be investigating sex crimes. Brilliant idea. And here we have Ottawa Police Inspector saying that the Dunlop Police Force is going to be handing over more than 350 cases to an outside panel of experts. Oh, my God. This is just a joke. A joke. Am I the only one that sees what's going on here and that this is going to be a disaster for men? Charge rate is low. Mariner has been in discussion with Ottawa police to implement this Philadelphia model of reviewing cases for more than 3 years. Under the model, experts from outside agencies are given access to police cases to determine if there are any missteps in the investigative process and alert the investigators to any worrying trends. Yes, the worrying trends, like, for example, men are not getting put in jail at a high enough rate. Too many of these horrible men are being found not guilty by a jury of their peers. We can't have that. You've got to create this outside panel of experts to make sure that they're almost certain to get railroaded into a conviction because we know they're guilty. We just need to convince everybody else of it. Yeah, this is a brilliant idea. Goes on to say the review system was first used in the U.S. in 2000 after investigation by the Philadelphia Inquirer revealed police in that city were dismissing a disproportionately high number of sexual assault complaints as unfounded. Disproportionately high compared to what? Oh, you mean the unrealistically high expectations of feminists who believe there are wolves running around everywhere and raping all the sheep. Oh, I see. Yeah, you can only use a word like disproportionately high when you have something to compare it to. What do you have to compare it to? The expectation that there should be more sex crimes going on. There's not enough sex crimes happening, and the sex crimes that are happening, there's too many of these men being found not guilty. Couldn't be that they were not guilty, and a bunch of women are falsely accusing guys of rape and sexual assault. Oh my God, no, that can't be it. No, because women never do anything wrong. It has to be that the men are guilty, and the system is biased against the women, even though 82% of the friggin' prison population is men, not women. And women are, oh my God, something like what, 3 times less likely to go to jail on average than a man. But somehow the system is biased against them. I mean, what does that mean? That's loaded language. That doesn't mean anything. Why? Can you tell us why that number, why the numbers in Philadelphia were seen by the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is a rag, leftist liberal rag, why they're disproportionately high? What does that mean, disproportionate? Disproportionately high compared to where? Why are you calling it disproportionately high? Oh, because we think they're too high, based on our rather random and arbitrary standards as feminist leftist losers. A sexual assault complaint is deemed unfounded when an investigator determines no crime occurred. Well, we can't have that. We can't have professional investigators who spent their whole lives training to be investigators declaring that no crime occurred. Oh, no! We're subjective idiots who work off of emotion and emotional-fueled rage. So we can't let logic and reason dictate things. God, no. Emotion dictates how we act and think. No. You can't be finding that there is no crime that occurred. No, we know a crime occurred. You're just an evil man biased against women. Let us women investigate the crimes, and we'll find the men guilty. I guarantee it. Mariner says charges are usually only laid in 15 to 20% of sexual assault charges. And that's because it's usually a he said, she said type of scenario. And I have absolutely no problem with that, because if you have a woman saying one thing and a man saying another, they're equal, right? He said, she said, unless you have some kind of corroborating evidence, you only have their words, neither one of them should be going to jail or convicted of a crime if you just have her word or his word. Oh, but of course, if you're a woman and you say you're raped, well, her word is worth more than his, and he'll automatically go to jail just because she said so. But hey, she's oppressed, right? And he's privileged. I wonder where this patriarchy is to save his ass. And that those low levels deter women from coming forward. Oh, I see. So what you want to do is increase the number of sexual assault charges that are laid against men, as well as the number of men who are, dare I say, convicted, so that more women will come forward to file charges? What? But this is so stupid, because only 15 to 20% of these cases are found to be legitimate. So what you're essentially saying is that you not only want it, your little council, your little outside feminist council, you not only want more people, you want more men to be convicted so more women will come forward to report sex crimes. Even though the people who are professional investigators, and you're just some dopey feminist who went to school and got a gender studies degree, and you've got it in your head that you're some kind of special genius when you're really a moron, and now you're going to figure out what happened to Jimmy Hoffa when the FBI and everybody else couldn't figure it out, but you're this special genius. Let's bring in the feminists to figure out what happened to this woman. Yeah, because they're such brilliant investigators. We can't find Jimmy Hoffa's body, but I bet they can find Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, let's just bring in this civilian panel of moron women who don't have a goddamn inkling, clue about how to investigate anything, but they're going to help the police. How stupid is that? Isn't it obvious that this is just political, that this is just a way that feminists are trying to get more influence into how criminal investigations are conducted? So they want to influence the investigations, get more men railroaded into crimes they didn't commit, when professional investigators determine that only 15 to 20% of sexual assault charges are valid, or prosecutable, that there's enough evidence. Oh, well, you know, we'll manufacture some more evidence given our fucking fancy word salad and double talk, and we'll be able to raise those numbers up because we're real good at manipulating people. And then once we do that, even more women will come forward. And then, of course, our paychecks will go up, up, up with all that overtime work that we'll get. Yeah, this is a real brilliant idea. We needed to create something that was systematic. Oh, I bet you did. More systems that are involved, the more convoluted it is, the more layered and insulated you are. Yeah, transparent my ass, lasting and institutionalized. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. So this pilot program, they're aiming to have this become permanent and a permanent part of the criminal justice system in Canada. Wonderful. Outside civil investigators with zero investigative powers, zero knowledge or experience, criminal justice, criminal investigation, police work, who are totally biased against everybody they're investigating, and they have a preset agenda to increase the number of arrests and convictions. And they have no investment whatsoever in due process or being unbiased and discovering actual guilt or innocence. The world is going to hell. Yeah, and they want to make it institutionalized and systematic so you can't get rid of it. To address those barriers so individual survivors don't have to advocate for themselves. Well, they might not be survivors until they're proven to be actual victims and that they've actually been victimized. They're not real victims. Oh, but to you, if they just say they've had something bad happen to them, well, they must be telling the truth. They couldn't possibly be lying. A Mariner says this opens the door in policing to get more charges in cases where the evidence supports that. No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? So, wait, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. That's, oh my God. So if there was more evidence to support charges, you'd be able to arrest them. You wouldn't need to be able to create this outside kangaroo court council to try and beef up or infer some kind of wrongdoing, some kind of evidence that isn't there to manipulate people. I mean, evidence is evidence. What evidence is a panel of feminists going to find that you can't find as a professional, lifelong police investigator, huh? I got to tell you guys, I find this very worrisome. Feminist groups and people who make their living off of treating victims of sexual assault crimes are now inserting themselves into police investigations, and they're creating their own systematic institutions that will eventually, and it won't be very long because already this pilot program is moving forward to become a permanent establishment within the legal justice system, a completely 100% private, non-police, citizen activist group dedicated to female victims of crime. They're all feminists and man-haters who are now going to play a pivotal role in investigating sex crimes for the sole purpose of increasing that 15 to 20% of people who are charged with a sex crime of some kind. Because, of course, we have to go in with the presupposition that there's a lot more of this going on, and we know it, and these horrible men are just getting away with it because you always have to believe her, right? Let me know what you think of this travesty of justice, allowing private citizens with zero criminal justice experience and zero investigative training or experience to investigate sex crimes, a cottage industry which they are already involved in which they directly benefit from, encouraging the belief in that more of this happens than it actually does, and they have a vested interest in finding as many men guilty as possible. And now these people will be in charge of sexual assault and rape investigations in many parts of Canada. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section of this video. Yes, the crazy people have taken over the asylum. Feminists are now going to be working hand in hand with the police as gender-based violence experts to determine men's guilt or innocence. And they're going to help to cook up, find evidence that the seasoned investigators couldn't find. Yeah. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.